Dear Mr. Bill Gates, so I don't really know if you're good or bad. Kind of thought that you were the Antichrist, but it's mostly because I believe in composting. And then I saw that you actually were talking about neglected tropical diseases. Well, it's the year 2022, and this girl here, which by the way was born in Area 52, she's been left with them in this town that I live in. And now again, my life is in danger. And the father of my grandson made it pretty apparent that my life indeed is in danger again. So is my plea to you. I do have to apologize for, telling people that you were the Antichrist and from my balcony in Willow Creek yelling over the hill to get out of the state. You see, my grandpa invested in IT companies. I don't know if you remember Sanford Stearns. I know that some of the IT companies that he invested in were good, and some were bad, and some were even a complete joke and a farce, and, didn't do anything. I know he was an original investor of AI. So, this girl here has got a story that's bigger than George Floyd's, because the thing about it is that I wasn't a criminal, and I'm not a criminal at all. Yet I was almost killed on a welfare check because of neglected tropical diseases that have been untreated. I'd show you the top of my head, my leaky cone head, I call it. But it's covered in a mix of baking soda, goat's milk, and bentonite clay, which I mostly have to keep on top of my head. I'm not even able to tolerate the electricity these days. It's too much for me having all this going on, plus having been around and exposed to some of the worst nuclear power plant / biological proving ground drop zones. My thyroid swelling. It's gotten to the point where my fingers are so numb I can't do my work. Can't even play a song on the guitar, get through a whole song. Before I had this for 6 years on the top of my head, just left like this by my family and by doctors. I had what literally looked like leprosy, mostly on this part of my face and on my arms, particularly by my major veins. It started in the early 2000s. This is how much medical neglect I've had in my life. And nobody seems to care, sadly. It actually was so bad when I first reported it that my whole face would swell, like my whole jaw would swell, my whole eye would swell huge. I'd have to put my hair over my eyes. This one of the doctors here across the street, who's an ENT / allergy specialist, diagnosed me with electronic sensitivities as well as mold mycotoxins. He has a picture of, and it's very identifiable that it's my skin because it was right where this tattoo is, right here, of basically my arm swollen up like this with fibers coming out of it. That is Morgellons disease. The thing about it is that I'm pretty certain the Morgellons disease never would have happened or shown had the doctors done their jobs and treated me for post-Nicaraguan sickness. The Nicaraguan exposure I had was in 1993 on a missionary trip that I was forced to go on by my father, who also, in no way, shape, or form whatsoever, is concerned about my life being saved, sadly, as a preacher and a pastor. No, instead he kicked me off the worship team when I didn't deserve to be kicked off. And this is kind of how my life goes. I get fired from jobs that I'm really good at and I work really hard at, and I've got executive qualities. That was really the consensus of a neuropsych with a doctorate, was that I had executive qualities. But I actually lose my job because of my executive qualities and how much I shine and how much boss energy I bring to a place. It causes managers to be jealous, and so they sabotage and thwart me, and they get me out of there. And at the last two places that I lived, where I was away from all the cell phone towers and didn't have nearly the amount of Morgellons on the top of my head and didn't have my thyroid going berserk in the other way, all they ever did was threw thyroid pills at somebody that has Lyme mold and neglected tropical diseases in multiplication 4 years. And so now my thyroid's permanently screwed up, and I can't tolerate these electrical conditions without medical treatment, which I can't get. Instead, my family tries to set me up, have me thrown on the street, especially as soon as it gets freezing cold and I'll die. And we're here again. We're at that spot again. So it was weird. I had a dream. I was dreaming about Elon Musk. If I move positions and sleep in a different spot, as well as play like, a targeted individual scatter frequency or dream hack prevention, I actually get to remember my dreams. And I dreamed about Elon Musk. Nothing weird, Grimes. I actually was probably the first girl in this state of Montana, besides professional DJs, to actually promote your music. You did that song about that David fella. Well, I don't know where the David fella went, or if David fella ever wants to come correct or fix his karma. My family's all reaping bad karma, but it's not like they actually do right by me to try to fix their karma. Instead, they try to do the opposite, have me killed, thinking that's going to fix the situation, but no, it's actually going to make their karma worse. So anyways, I'm pretty certain, well, I know that our inheritances were stolen, and my grandpa died with many, many millions, and he was very kind and generous to us as we were growing up. He would give us rare coins and dollar bills. I ended up with his manifestation stone. I ended up with his Kennedy signed toolbox from when he worked at the Brown Shipyard in Houston, where he met my grandmother, who was a welder there, and he is a machinist. It's got all the old compasses and stuff. It's pretty cool. That was in the 40s. Yeah, the ship went to the Normandy invasion. So I ended up with this toolbox as a manifestation stone, but no inheritance. We don't know where that went. My brother told me that it went to Jimmy Carter, but I don't know who to trust or to believe these days, sadly. I'm pretty certain he had a house in Denver, Colorado, where he did the core sampling for the, this is my family crest, by the way. It's got a bird on the top, like a bluish black bird. It's from Wales. Sorry. My ears also, with all this stuff trying to evade my body after 20 years of medical neglect, medical mismanagement, medical misdiagnosis, which has led to medical defamation. Actually, I've got an insane defamation of character case due to the fact that, back to the George Floyd thing, bigger than George Floyd's story I have, and it's still in the paper. You look up my name, all of my other photos were erased of me and what my face looks like, and my photos, a lot of the websites concerning a jewelry genre that I started that's now worldwide, where a lot of people around the world are making money off of it. Etsy made tons and tons and tons of money off the jewelry genre, which I started, which was basically I called it dystopian back then, and it was in 2008 that I started it, and it was hammered copper with wrapped gemstones, stick copper earrings, which 1 billion variations of those have been made. Had some copper hoop earrings that were sold to Kmart unbeknownst to me. I don't know who made money off of that, But this girl sits here penniless, dollarless, and her life in danger. Yeah, no, I'm waiting on my driver's license, which takes forever and months, especially when at the last place you worked, your phone was cloned, your mail key was stolen. I know my identity's been stolen and used. Definitely my energy gets harvested constantly, and my dreams, unless I take some sort of protection to try to remember them, I don't. It's all really crazy and weird what's going on, and nobody would believe it. But I'm hoping that the true story gets revealed so that some of us that have been through the worst lives can be treated like actual real human beings, like we deserve to be treated. Like I said, my face would puff up. I'd have to put my hair over it. It looked like the Elephant Man, and they just tried to call it acne and just threw thyroid pills at me. They tried to throw antidepressants at me, but due to my specific special DNA, I don't tolerate those. They actually cause the opposite. Also, who knows if it has to do with testing that was done at nuke houses / proving ground sites, as everything seems to be opposite with me concerning these hemispheres. In my dream, Elon Musk and his professional dude, there's just like children all over this small house, and women and children all over. There was like 2 dudes, and they were looking at my photo album and making fun of, I don't know, like my father, ancestor, calling him like, my dad used to rock a big old hippie beard, calling him like Abraham and Moses. But then when I told them I was born in Area 52, they were kind of impressed by that one. I just like wonder if you're a good guy or a bad guy, because why are you concerned about neglected tropical diseases? And how did this girl slip through the fingers of these doctors that didn't seem to care about my life and would rather discriminate against me and lie about me in my medical records and put my life in further danger? Give me defamation of character is what it led to. I was almost killed on a welfare check, but it wasn't a warranted welfare check because I wasn't suicidal, nor was I going to hurt anyone. I was just simply too sick to sit up in a chair, especially as a woman during specific types of the month where it gets so bad that I literally cannot sit up in a chair. I didn't have the energy or the strength to do that. There's an infectious disease doctor over this way that also dismissed my life and let me know that my life wasn't worth saving and absolutely refused to treat me whatsoever. None of these people looked into the, post-Nicaraguan illness that I developed, even though it quite literally killed my son at 20 months old on an operating table in Helsinki, Finland, which his condition went out of control when his parents that I'd adopted him out to, I had scholarships to college. I'm in the 99th percentile, or was, actually. I'm still pretty smart, even though I've got all these concussions, not concussions, showing up in my brain through scans. Oh, man. So much ridiculousness in the medical industry, isn't it? It's out of control. How pathetic, lazy, and careless these doctors are. It blows my mind. Anyways, what was I talking about? 99th percentile. Dr. Pullman telling me my life wasn't worth treating. My life wasn't worth saving. Oh yeah, Josiah that died in Helsinki, Finland. Which, by the way, when they opened it up, thinking that they were going to operate on the spot on his heart, it had actually spread throughout his body and was a manifestation of rat lungworm, which many of us know are due to strongyloids. And in Hawaii, they connected the strongyloids to Morgellons disease infections. So, can I ask you, do you care about me and my leaky cone head and the fact that instead of helping save my life, my family quite literally just schemes to throw me away and have me thrown out? No, I'm actually waiting on my driver's license because the last place that I worked was also managed by a nefarious criminal, and no, this needs to go to a judge. He is so obvious about the fact that he's a bit nefarious, or maybe even more than a bit nefarious, that he had to go in my room, break a lease, break a law, throw all my stuff out on a balcony, on a porch, above the Willow Creek Cafe, and ruin all of my stuff, which, by the way, I used for business, vintage fabrics, vintage clothing for jewelry shoots. He ruined it all. But there was some reason he had to go in my room and get rid of everything right away. Well, I already knew I was being surveilled illegally in my room. Not only that, but these people always like to throw scalers and jammers my way. But no, he had to take something. He had to get in my room and throw all my stuff. I'd put a sign on my door that said, you know, smile, you're on camera. Any unauthorized entry into this room will be considered trespassing by upright law enforcement. Well, of course, that was removed when I went to, you know, go find what I didn't get back, such as like the heater that I have a receipt for, that I paid $40 for. That was brand new, that he decided to keep anyways, or I don't know, maybe it was the other chef would have his family and friends over partying all night long. Just doing little drugs, no biggie. These are the kind of people that get to keep their jobs and win in America. But those of us that report crime, we have our lives put in danger. Nobody cares whether we live or die. Yeah, so basically I'm now in a position where my life is in great danger again. And all of this is because of neglected tropical diseases and medical neglect and the neglect of the medical industry that doesn't care about our lives. Even though I have defamation of character from this welfare check, not welfare check call. That's what you see when you look up my name. Sally Stearns is my name, by the way. Even though I've got defamation of character, the cop that actually quite literally caused the accident and caused it all to happen and almost killed me and my dog on a highway with a vintage rear-wheel drive Mercedes, he didn't show up in it at all. Well, his dad's a sergeant, and now he's doing time because not only did he abuse special needs children in his wife's daycare, there was 6 counts reported before they closed it down and did anything about it, and then she was able to reopen it somehow. He also got caught, busted, red-handed, strangling his own child. So yeah, of course his name didn't end up in the article, even though he was the main person behind my dog and I almost being killed. I did make a video about it, and so I'm going to post it, and hopefully it's viewable. My stuff gets very hacked. Federal crimes in mass amounts are committed against me while my life's put in danger, and there are schemes and plots to destroy me, to take me out. They can't put me in some loony bin. I have a neuropsych appointment from someone with a PhD, and I'm found to not have mental illness. Anybody going through what I've gone through would be a little bit unnerved, especially with an overthyroided thyroid that's been permanently screwed up due to the mistreatment of the medical industry. So yeah, my family's cuckoo, but they kind of seem, and they're not very good people. They don't care about life. They care about money more than they care about the life of their own flesh and blood, sadly. And sadly, I think that there's a lot of families like that. But some of them are so cuckoo that they kind of, you know, are criminal about it and actually would deserve to be in a, you know, ward for people with mental illness. I come from a very narcissistic family dynamic, and I've always been the abused, scapegoated, black sheep, doormatted person in the family. In fact, they are prosperous, except for the fact that their karma is, you know, kind of getting them these days, and they refuse to make the thing right with me, and so it's not really helping their karma. But anyways, I started a child care center between the years of 2000 and 2005, which were my healthier years. I had 5 years of college at that time. Before I was 29, and got really, really, really sick to where I couldn't work anymore and had to give away that childcare business to my sister. She didn't buy me out, nor was she even willing to put a can on her counter when I actually was set up to receive biotoxin treatment from the top biotoxin specialist in the nation, and had at that time 2 doctors that were willing to work with that person, and that was before the virus pandemic and before change of presidency. Since then, one doctor has scrubbed my records after I simply called a law firm, Bucksbaum Law. They, by the way, lived next to Jimmy Carter's land near Phillipsburg, Montana, which was the Vote Smart property. So if indeed my inheritance ended up going to Jimmy Carter Foundation, the amount of money that my grandpa would have donated would have more than paid for that land. But I kind of seem to think that it was stolen and never actually even made it to Jimmy Carter. I also think that there was a house in Colorado that he lived at when he did the core sampling for the oil industry there. That's what I got distracted showing this. All of the core samples were sent to my grandpa in Denver, and he was able to let them know how close they were to oil, thereby saving them lots of money. And I think that thems could possibly be behind my inheritance disappearing. It's either that or it is one of my dad's step siblings. Perhaps the oldest one, who was named after my grandpa, who was named Sanford, and her name was Sandra. Yeah. Not like I'd really care all that much if I wouldn't have lost everything. Sorry, fingers are going numb now. If I wouldn't have lost everything due to untreated neglected tropical diseases for 2 decades now. And that has led to more illness. I wouldn't have cared about so much about the inheritance, except for the fact that I needed to treat my illness, and I needed to be safe and to thereby increase my career again by having a safe place to live now everywhere I go. It starts out great, and then I get targeted, and then I get thrown out with literally no notice. Last time it was because of a fentanyl scale that was thrown at me as somebody that rented out a cabin to somebody, and a girl comes up and says she's really scared, and that, you know, a pharmaceutical rep made her rent a cabin in her name and had a suitcase full of medications. And this was after a friend of my daughter's died of one of those overdoses. And since then, 2 other people in that same family have died of those overdoses, like within a period of 6 months. So I was a bit concerned that the management of this hot spring south of Missoula wasn't concerned about turning that in to the authorities. And when I said I was going to get the direct line to the drug detective there, I was told that I had less than 24 hours to get out of there. In fact, they tried to set me up. Set me up as, you know, somebody that had used some drugs, and I went and spoke to the drug detective in Missoula and took a drug test. I wanted them to give it to me, but they didn't do that, so he told me to go get one, and so I did, and I photographed it and posted it on my Instagram page, which was made unviewable for the most part. It's really hard to find it, as it's really hard to find this YouTube channel. The stuff is out of control, and it's really not serving our future. It's not serving the future of America. It's not serving our future generations, due to the fact that these doctors refuse to treat the root causes of diseases, and they just want to leave everyone ill, and they think that making money is more important than saving lives. So yeah, I'm in a real sticky situation. It's freezing cold. My 16-year-old German Shepherd is now having to live in the back of the car as I wait for my driver's license so I can finish doing this court case, so that managers that are nefarious, that think they can just do whatever they want and break whatever laws they want and be involved with the mob, you know, and try to take out someone's life. Well, first they try to take out your life, and then when they fail to do that, they try to set you up falsely And that happened over there in Three Forks, Montana / Willow Creek, for sure. Yeah, and it just follows you. They all try to kill me and take me out. Then they try to get my own family's heads warped enough to do that as well. And it's a really messed up situation. So this girl here needs some help. She's presently now in a town that's being filmed in. Right smack in between an ENT / allergy specialist and a so-called infectious disease doctor. His brother's in the film industry as well. And then the doctor that medically neglected me for over a decade before I actually went and got specialist care. And my medical records are this high. Physically related this high. Mentally, yeah. No, all y'all's false schemes, false plans, your little agendas, your little, conjuring up little plans to kill Sally and have Sally admitted, none of them are gonna work. They don't pan out. They don't fly. And even any false reports aren't gonna change it either. Okay, the truth will come out. The truth will be made known. And I want to believe that there are a few people on this planet that actually care about a better tomorrow for the children. This is sad because these people have children. And like I said, they wouldn't have any of what they have if they didn't have a place to drop their kids off that I started and got nothing for. Not even a simple little coffee can to raise money for me to get medical treatment when that was going to be a thing 2 years ago. Metformin did get me better. Oh my God. But I went and, had an appointment. And due to the fact that the doctor from Phillipsburg, Granite County Medical Center, who also was an anaconda after, I don't even know if she's a doctor now. I know she likes to hunt animals, not for meat, but for sport, such as lionesses. Ugh. But these are the people that want to turn us into bad people. We're the bad people. Even though I couldn't even kill a deer. When my dad tried to take me hunting. I couldn't even kill a deer for food. Oh, but they all want to make me out to be what I'm not and destroy an innocent person's life that's fighting for the future generations. And what is wrong with this picture besides everything? Do these people care about their own children living in a better world? Apparently not. They're so ungrateful for the fact that they have a nice quality child care center / preschool that they can drop their kids off so they can go make money, but did they ever thank the person that founded it? Nope. No, they put her life in danger. It's ridiculous. Girl's got no help. In fact, everyone tries to kill her, and everyone is at every angle. She's got Bryce on her head. But I'm sorry, people that are involved in trafficking aren't just going to get away with it. Okay? It's going to be turned in, and it's going to be dealt with properly and legally the way it needs to be. And any plan right now to thwart that, and for me to lose, I've already just lost 2 months of unemployment due to the fact that, it takes forever to get a driver's license, especially when your identity's been stolen, your mail's been stolen, and your phone's been cloned. When does it end? It would all end if I would have the inheritance I was supposed to get, if I would have the safe place I was supposed to get. I'm pretty sure that oldest half sibling of my dad ended up with that home. I know that one family did end up in Denver, Colorado area. But yeah, I didn't get any inheritance, and I'm probably the one out of the entire family that needs it the most. Little Miss Dugway, Area 52, 1976 here. And I hate to be controversial, or conspiratorial. It's not a theory once it gets declassified, by the way, people. I hate to be that person with a bank serial number on my birth certificate. Dugway Proving Grounds in Area 52. But Bill Gates, what the heck am I supposed to do? I'm just fighting for my life here. Who can blame me? I didn't deserve defamation of character, and it was after I contacted Bucksbaum, that lives next to Jimmy Carter's land, that my doctor, and they asked me who my doctor was, and it was right after that she suddenly changed, refused to do my lab so that I could get the biotoxin treatment and care that I needed, and scrubbed my records. What's wrong with this country? What's wrong with this picture? Stuff like this. And unless this stuff is changed and blown up and people hear about it, it's not going to change. An example needs to be made of my situation for a better tomorrow. And for the treatment of neglected tropical diseases, which was supposed to be, under wraps how many years ago? So I was first infected in 1993. My son Josiah died at 20 months on an operating table in Helsinki, Finland, post-Omsk, Siberia exposure. The year after the Tomsk spill right to the right of Chernobyl. And it's 2022. And nothing's been rectified. Nothing has been recompensed. The situation has not been right. And I still have a family conjuring against me, refusing to help my life be saved. This is everything that's wrong with the world today. The way these doctors just throw people's lives away like they don't matter. The way families throw their own family members' life away like it doesn't matter. This is everything that's wrong with the world today. Unless some things are changed, things are only going to get way worse for their children. They all ought to be ashamed of themselves. So my story needs to be told, and it needs to be made fully known, and I need help, and I need relief, and I need my stolen inheritance returned for a better tomorrow. You know, you could leave me with a false defamation of character and the complete torture of being left with a shingles-related infection on the top of my head for 6 years, loss of businesses that everyone else gets to make money off of but me. And that's fine. That would be fine, but it's not going to serve the future, and it's not going to serve the future generation. So again, I ask you, Bill Gates, are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy? I get that there's a lot of people in the world, but I still believe in this. So if you can't explain to me why. I mean, I literally had a farmer over at Willow Creek say, we can't feed y'all. And then I was going to put, aeroponics, on my deck and say, well, that's how they do it up in space so they can feed them all. Of course, I don't think that you can compost, maybe perhaps for the, aeroponic fertilizer. I don't really know exactly how all that works. Anyways, just trying to put my story out there. Hoping and praying that my life will be saved and that my family will come correct and just quit trying to have my life quite literally destroyed. No, you don't get to just escape karma. It just doesn't work that way. And the more that you work against somebody that has the purest intentions, that's why my defamation character case will go strongly, is because I'm beyond prudent. I'm beyond reasonable, and I'm beyond prudent. I stick to myself. I don't do anything. I don't break the law. I won't even drive my car because I don't have a driver's license, and thereby can't go to Bozeman to get it registered. Okay, I don't break the law at all. But nobody's here to support me and help me and save my life. In fact, they want to just throw me out on the streets instead. And then let a criminal get away with being a criminal over there, that guy that was managing the Willow Creek Cafe. No. Until this stuff is dealt with, it's never going to change. And so I don't know if you remember my grandpa, Sanford Stearns. I know that he was an original big-time investor in IT companies, as well as robotics, as well as AI. And this is where his granddaughter is today, due to the medical neglect of somebody that has the symptoms of... Oh yeah, one last thing. We quite literally ate guinea pigs in Nicaragua on this missionary trip I was forced to go on by a pastor dad that would do nothing to help me at all whatsoever. No, they're over at their Lake Havasu Airbnb. They ended up with lots of real estate. This girl ain't got a safe place to live to save her life. So anyways, signs of, in the Nicaraguan waters, the red tide there, it was up to 85% contaminated with strongyloids, rat lungworm, and coctiocides. And I ate guinea pigs. And none of these doctors would help me. They wouldn't even investigate that at all. Not even this infectious disease doctor over here. All of these people that have worked against my life ought to be ashamed of themselves. Animals love me. Kids love me. I was building curriculum. Not only was I training other directors of child care and preschool facilities, I was training the people that ran the government-funded training and coordination site that paid and, divvied out the state funds and were responsible for training directors of child care. And this is where I am today, struggling to even have my life saved. I want to believe that, the story is going to come through for me, that my salvation is going to come through for me, that perhaps my stolen inheritance or even just a lifeline that is like out of all these cell phone towers might come through for me. Some medical treatment might come through for me. Something might come through for me. A safe place to live is my complete immediate need right now. I want to believe that's supposed to happen. A lot of the psychics are picking up on the crappy, torturous, horrible story that's been nothing but a fight for my life that I don't deserve for 20 years now. But it's the answer that never seems to come. So anyways, it's just a girl begging to have her life saved so that she can try to help build a better tomorrow with her many skills and talents and a high level of intelligence, even though my brain is filled with fungal pathogens.